Hey, good day, YouTube. How you doing out there? So a lunchtime video. I don't know what to say. I might have to chop this up. My thoughts are kind of disjointed, but roaming here and there. Um, but there's some things going on, and throw some comments out there. Um, had a good chat last night with, or I guess it wasn't a chat. Tactical Tony was just screen sharing some of the news coverage out of Charlotte, and somebody that was live streaming from ground level what we were calling thug vision, or this guy was actually running around with some of the guys that were destroying property and stuff, streaming off of his phone through Periscope or something bizarre, just doing as he pleased. But that was interesting. But we did a little talk with Tony and Saints and Sappers, and good to see everybody out in the external, chatting it up. Is it just a sign of future things to come? Is it an excuse to further deploy the police state? It appears the answer to all that is yes. It's further progression down the road, stuff like what happened in Charlotte. There was one guy that I saw, I think after I got off that was doing a stream, and he was obviously I was watching it after the fact, and he was just talking about how don't support with money, boycott all these things. He was calling out Cam Newton, who's the quarterback there of the local Carolina football team, calling him out for not supporting or not helping black people and etc. And it's like, well, he's got a point with some of that stuff, Yeah, you shouldn't put your money into things that are working against you, stuff like that. He may listed off a number of things, and yeah, I think that's spot on. The economics is what's driving everything. The economic effects are what drives all of this. And then you see the Fed came out yesterday and said they're not going to raise rates again. Shocker. Shocker once again. The Fed's not going to raise rates. Supposedly we should be in like the 5th rate hike of the last year, or something like that. And we're at 1 barely, and they had to apologize for that. Things are bad, real bad, when that's going on. Because as they lower the rates, the Fed makes less money, the central bankers make less money, they're not as profitable. But to maintain power, they're keeping rates low, because if they jack it up, it's not gonna help. They're gonna lose even more money than they're not making. Their stuff's gonna disappear. Because you remember, it's not about real money. It's not about real cash in people's pockets. It's about digits on the computer, and that stuff will disappear overnight if they start raising rates. And they definitely don't want to lose any of that. Or more so, they don't want to lose control that they have over people. So as linking things together, economy, the inability of people to get goods and services effectively or affordably, and people need to realize it's not black and white. It's all of us in this together against higher powers. When the higher powers are black, white, and indifferent, there's different colors and different everybody up there. It ain't like it's all one group. It's not a secret Jewish group. It's not the secret all white Masons. That's all this is getting off subject, but I've come to the conclusion that's all. Those are all distractions from the real power play of just one big conglomerate that have found a way to hold power. It's not like they're super racist or super. They're elitist for sure, but it has to be with who you know and what you've done, what you've been doing, willing to sell out for. It doesn't matter your color or your background. Well, background to a certain extent, because if you're in a wealthy family, yeah. But where you come from originally, and what nation or whatever. It's my conclusion. So that continues, and I think it just goes without saying. Prepare yourself accordingly. You know, the inflationary pressures. You look what's going on in the southeast. A gas line ruptures and the gas prices spiked rather dramatically. I have several people I know or have documented that they were caught unprepared, you would say, you know, trying to drive across North Carolina, Tennessee, etc. And gas stations are out of fuel in certain locations. Everything's being shipped in by truck, so costs more. There's gas over $3 a gallon in places. So if you want a snapshot of the SHTF, like that's an example of what it would be like. That's the downward trend. That's going to become the norm. Granted, this is a gas line rupture, and it'll probably get fixed, and things will return. But when the gas stops running through those things as much, that's what it's going to be like. You're going to have gas shortages and higher prices. People complaining on social media about, they're price gouging. No, you just don't understand how this works. That pipeline saves a lot of money on transportation costs because you don't have to pay a truck and a driver for 5 days of fuel transport what you can get through that fuel pump, you know, through that gas line in 1 day. So it's a cost savings in the long run for those things. But the safety factor, obviously, is a whole different issue. So you can either have cheap gas and live dangerously or whatever. But yeah, have your stuff ready. Be ready to experience shortages and those things in the future. That's an example of how to be prepared. Just having a little bit of fuel on standby. You know, you don't have to have a 100-gallon tank. Just have 2 5-gallon gas cans that you rotate through, and you've at least got fuel to deal with the emergency immediately to figure out what you're going to do, you know. But all kinds of little examples out there of stuff to just be ready for. We got weather coming in here, getting cooler, fall's coming in, so you got to get ready for winter. Make all your winterization preparations and stuff. That takes up a considerable amount of time. It's hard to make additional preps if you're just getting ready for winter itself. Hard to make progression in the winter, it seems like. Goes back to what made a video a couple weeks ago talking about, you know, with everything on the horizon in the election year and everything else, this is not a good time to try to relocate and start over somewhere and build up a location, you know, a bug out site or your future homestead or whatever. This next 3 months doesn't look like a good time to be moving around unprepared. If you're moving into a better place of preparedness because you got, you know, local support, you know, family, friends, whatever, that would be one thing. But if you're going out unalone and unafraid, it's not going to work out well, I don't think. Or at least it's the high probability of failure, I guess, for lack of a better word. But we're enjoying the weather coming in here. Getting some showers today, supposedly. And just enjoying cooler weather. First day of fall. Down in the 50s. 30s in the morning, so it's all good. So just leave you all with that. There's probably a bunch of stuff I could talk about otherwise, but kind of just focus on how everything ties together and the slow decline. Continue to focus on how things are going to slowly devolve. We're not going to have one big sentinel event to rally around to wake up the masses, and that's partially by design, and that's partially just the way things work. You know, Rome didn't fall in well, it fell over time. While Rome, the city, fell, the empire fell, dissolved a little over time. It wasn't like a big catastrophic event that everybody could rally around. This slowly degraded and things readjusted, and we're probably going to go through something similar. So, y'all be safe out there, prepare, live free.